What's up, guys? It's Joe from the Joe and Shab Show Wrestling Podcast here to talk about WWE 2K17 and some things that they should improve on for 2K18 next year. Now, I've had the game for about a month now. I got it when it came out. I honestly don't remember when it came out. I think it came out a little over a month ago. So, So, around a month and a third, maybe. So I just wanted to go through a couple things here, talk about how they can improve the next game, because I've been playing these games for a long time. I think I bought every single one on day one since 2009, with the exception of 2K14 when I wasn't watching wrestling that much, but I have bought all of the other ones other than that, day one. So I know my way around these games, and I've played pretty much all of them. I love them. They're great. I buy them all the time, every year. They're awesome. But there are some major flaws that need to be addressed. And I think overall, what needs to be addressed, before I get into like the specifics, is that the game isn't trying to be like the best it can be. I feel like what they're doing is they're just taking the game that you already have and just throwing stuff at it. And they're just throwing stuff at it until something sticks. And then if it sticks, then they keep it in. And then they move on to something else. And I don't think that's right. I think what they should try to do is every year make like a different sort of flavor of game. That's what THQ used to do. Sort of back in the day, like every year was sort of different than the last one. Not only with the roster, but with the gameplay, the look of the game, the HUD. Pretty much all that has changed about the HUD in the past 3 years is the text. That's it. But you probably without the HUD, it might be difficult to distinguish between 2K16 and 2K17. With some characters especially, but it's I think that's what needs to be addressed most of all. Is just the way they approach these games, because sometimes I feel like they're not lazy, but I know they're scrunched for time, obviously, because they only have a year to make it, but I feel like they should try to do something big and different every year, because nothing this year added was too big at all. And when you think about it, last year, all we got was stuff that we should have, I don't know about should have had 2K15, but stuff that we all wanted from 2K15. Because, obviously 15 was the first one on the next-gen console, so it didn't have that much new stuff. It was also the first one 2K officially produced, because 14 was, I guess, the THQ pretty much, or Jack, or what's the company that made those? I don't remember, but THQ pretty much developed it fully. 2K got it, but this year didn't have too many things new that were added. When you think about the big things that they touted, was backstage brawls, which are awesome, by the way. Definitely the best addition of the game. Then it was the creative video. Obviously, highlight. It's cool to have it back. I love pausing a match, rewinding, but it's so minor a feature. I don't understand. Like, it's in the trailer too. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And then you had new ladder match, which it definitely needed revamped, no doubt. Ladder match definitely needed revamped. But yeah, that's it pretty much. Maybe you could argue improved universe mode, improved MyCareer, but I'm going to get into that later. So, those are like the three big things that I would say are new in the game. But yeah, let's get into the list here. So, number 10 on my list is the AI. Now, the AI in this game and the last game are actually, in my opinion, pretty good. You can make them very, very difficult to face. Obviously you've always been able to adjust the sliders, but this year especially, I feel like The AI is a lot more responsive in what you do, and they try to do some tricky stuff to you. They vary their moves. The only problem is that there are some wrestlers you face where they won't do a certain move. I looked at the patch notes for the latest patch that came out, and I think it was, I think it was Charlotte. She would never go for the figure 8. She would always do that move that she does. Forget what it is called. I'm blanking again. That's 2 blanks in one video. But anyways, she would always do the same move every time as a finisher, never the figure 8. And you can definitely see that with a lot of the AI. They'll do just a signature, and they'll pin you, and then they just will never do their finisher. And I don't know if I feel like maybe there's some way to have the AI because the game makes you play like you're playing the WWE style, right? They want you to play the game in a certain way where when you play it, you can argue that you're watching a WWE match. You're supposed to play it like a WWE match. Go for pins whenever you think it's appropriate. You don't go right out the gate doing a bunch of running grapples and dive attacks. If you do that right away, the game just doesn't look right. It's a simulation game. They want you to simulate it like that, and the AI will just pin sometimes after really crappy moves. They'll even pin after like a running strike. Worst of all, they'll do their finish to you, and they'll just like stomp on you, and they won't pin you. But I'm having it at number 10 because it's honestly, I think the AI is gotten a lot better. Just a couple bugs in there need to be worked out, and the AI will be perfect. Maybe some new sliders to introduce different aspects of what they do, like rate of using finishers, rate of using signatures, rate of pins, submissions, just stuff like that. I think would really improve the AI. Number 9, it's a little weird one, but it's facial animations. Now, the thing is, the character models in 2K17 are very, very good. In fact, they're probably the best we've ever seen. Like, I was just looking, Finn Balor looks amazing, especially with his paint on. He looked amazing last year, but this year, especially with the lighting they've introduced. Roman Reigns looks really good. I'm trying to just think off the top of my head, people who look like flawless. Goldust, Mark Henry, AJ Styles looks great. First time he's been in the game. Just a lot of really good looking people in there. Now, the problem is that some would say, character models look good, but something's off about the graphics. Something just doesn't look right. And I think it's the facial animations, because literally everyone in this game makes the same animations when they do, like, they'll always do like the thing. They'll like open their mouth up and they'll just like have the same face on every single person. Now, I guess it makes sense to have them act a certain way in a certain time, but I feel like to achieve like the next level, you should have like Kevin Owens make a different facial expression from someone like John Cena or Seth Rollins, or all those people do different stuff, and they don't. Or The Undertaker and Kevin Owens should not be making the same face whenever they get hit with a move, I feel like they should introduce new facial animations to really bring these characters more to life. Because the way it stands right now, especially with your created characters, there's not a lot of personality between them. And I feel like facial animations will really help that. It's a really minor thing. I just wanted to throw it out there. But I feel like it'll really help. Now we're going to get into some match types that really need to be revamped. Number 8 is Royal Rumble. Now, Royal Rumble It's still fun. It's a good mode. Get to, if you want to be like, oh, hey, let's look at all the character models at once, see how everyone looks. It's a great way to do it. But I feel like they haven't changed anything in years. Like, I think it was 2K14. Like, the camera was facing the ring and not the ramp like it used to, so you can't see everyone coming in. And it's been like that ever since. And I don't know why. It's like they just haven't checked. Like, they haven't booted up a Royal Rumble in like 4 years, and they're like, oh, geez, the camera's facing the wrong way. Why didn't anyone tell us earlier? It's such an easy fix, and I don't know why they don't do it. Oh, it just blows my mind. That's such a bad thing to do. Not only that, but this Royal Rumble engine has been here since 2010, and it really, really shows, because the gameplay in 2010 was so much different than the gameplay we have right now. 2010 was way more arcadey. You could literally sprint nonstop. Nothing bad would ever happen to you. Now, it's not like that. We need a Royal Rumble system simulation, a Royal Rumble mechanic engine thing, I don't know, that coincides with the simulation-based gameplay. Because not only does it not matter, like, it's not that it's difficult to stay in as number 1 all the way to 30. It's possible, but one wrong move could send you over the rope, even with like full health, underneath the rope, and you have to do that stupid mini game where you have to hit X whenever your line's right over the highlight bar, and you have to hit X and get out. That mechanic is just broken, especially. Sometimes you'll throw someone out and they'll just do an animation where they just hang on, and it's like, okay, and then they come back in the ring. You don't even get a chance to throw them out. Royal Rumble needs revamped. I honestly think it has potential. I especially want to see what 2K and the simulation-based gameplay can do with a new Royal Rumble system. I think it would be great. So, from there we go to a match type that I think is still fun to play, but is still, flawed in many ways, to a match type that is no fun to play and is very flawed, and that's Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell matches in this game are awful. They are just normal matches where you can't leave the ring. That's it. The OMG moment to break them out of the wall, they may have fixed it in a patch, but on launch, and even after the first patch, I could not do it. I gave up on the mode. And not only that, but I think doing the OMG moment through the cell is dumb, because all you're going to do is, if you're playing with a friend, be like, oh, hey, can we do a finisher on each other just so we can break through the cell? Because obviously we want to fight outside the cell. It's a video game. And, I know they're doing simulation stuff, but there has to be a different way to, get outside. Like, before there was the door, in the old games, you could just hit A on the door. I don't know what you do, but there definitely needs to be a change here. It doesn't work a lot of the times. It's very restricted. It's better than Hell in a Cell match in Legends of WrestleMania. But that's not saying much. I think we need a new version of Hell in a Cell, and we need it bad, because this version just doesn't work. Coming up next year, I have the Crowd. Now the thing about the Crowd is that they've never looked good. And especially, you can tell this year that they don't look good, because you fight in the crowd now. It's a big feature they added, and it just doesn't look right. Like, you get up close to them, and they still look terrible. And they really, really need a revamp, like, really bad. And, it's not even that they should look great, I think, but they actually look terrible. And it really breaks immersion from when you're watching, like, an entrance. I remember looking back at a couple of the old games and watching the entrances and being like, wow, like, this entrance looks so real, Like, obviously it was cheesy because it was This was like 2011, and obviously the character models back then didn't look as good as they do now. But the crowd hasn't changed in so long that when you see one of these new entrances, sometimes it gets a peek of the crowd, and you were like, oh, well, that looks terrible, and it just completely ruins the entrance in some capacity. I don't know if it's just me. It ruins some of the match too, because they just don't look right next to those well fleshed out character models. It's just the truth. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Number 5, it's another weird one. I don't know how people feel about this, but it's the clothing options. I don't know if it's just me, but is there just not any generic t-shirt in this game that you can put on? Because there's one that's way too long down your legs. There's one where it's tucked in, but there's no like in between shirt that like doesn't have a logo on it already. Not only that, there's a lot of shirts like Kevin Owens' shirt where it doesn't have sleeves on it, but whenever you put a generic sleeveless shirt on Kevin Owens, it doesn't look right. It just like folds at his sides because it's not the same shirt that I guess they give him in the game, and so there's no way to really make a good looking Kevin Owens attire. That just really frustrates me. It's a simple fix, which is why it's on here. Because it's something that should be fixed. They should just add a normal t-shirt with no logos on it, normal sleeveless shirt with no logos on it, all that stuff. I just don't know why they don't do it. And of course, there's sleeveless shirts that are tucked in, but those look terrible. All right, number 4. Now, these are the ones that I think really, really, really need attending to. So number 4, I have the promo engine. Now, the promo engine, I don't think it's terrible in the game. Don't get me wrong. But it's definitely not great. Now, the thing is with the promo engine is that when your character comes out, he's just wearing his wrestling shirt, no wrestling shirt or whatever, just the in-ring attire. If he has a title, he doesn't come out with the title. As a manager, doesn't come out with the manager. Every promo is the same. If you give freaking Seth Rollins a promo, it's going to look the same. Have the same options as if like Summer Rae was to make a promo or if The Undertaker was to make a promo. And that needs more address to it. And I think more options need to be made with the promos as well. You can end them via fights and stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like there should be more options. Whenever you click create a promo in universe mode or in MyCareer, there's self-promotion, call out, form tag team, break up tag team, stuff like that. There should be more there. Like challenge for title, ask for a certain opponent for tonight or for a pay-per-view, ask for a certain stipulation. Just stuff like that, just to make the stories in universe mode and MyCareer mode more fleshed out, Like this way you can have your character be like, I want you in a no disqualification match. John Cena. You can have stuff like that. You can feel more immersion because, like, don't get me wrong. Promos in MyCareer, I think they're awesome. Like, I have Tag Urich as Cena on Wrestling with Regret. He comes out, and on MyCareer, I just have him be a heel. And the heel promos in this game are amazing, okay? Didn't like any of the face promos. I thought they're all terrible. But you can literally have your heel come out and say, I am God. And I love that about this game. But like I said, it just needs to be fleshed out more. More added into it. Because it's a good start, I think. It shows a lot of promise. But yeah. Also, I think whenever you're reading the text, it should take a note from SmackDown vs. Raw's story mode. Story designer. Where it would just have your guy talking and then you can hit A and like cycle through a list of things that he's saying rather than having to read out a paragraph and just watch him like mouth on the microphone for like a minute. You can hit X to skip to the next part, which is nice. But I feel like whenever I do that, it just doesn't look right. So, yeah. Honestly though, I like the promo system enough and I think also in MyCareer it should have more benefit, but I'll get to that in a little bit. All right, number 3. Now, this is something that needs addressed very, 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 very badly. the commentary. Now, in the old SmackDown vs. Raw games, we didn't have commentary. We had, well, actually, I don't know when the commentary started. I think it was 2007. We didn't have commentary, okay? We had music. The music would play during the match, and it was fine. It wasn't, obviously, it's not simulation-based, but there was no commentary. Then commentary was added in 2008, I think, or 2007. Sorry, my memory's failing me. But the important thing to say here is that the commentary has not been improved in nearly 10 years. Think about that. Or even if it's 2007, then yeah, 10 years. It has not been improved in 10 years. Sure, they've added commentary, they've added commentators, they've added new lines, all that, they update it every year, but they have not improved the way they do it in 10 years. Now, they always tout, I think it was 13 touted, new commentary system was WWE Live, it's going to be so good, new sound system. Nothing changed. It was the same game. Nothing changed. Commentary was still crap, okay? Whenever I play a match and I hit dirty deeds on somebody, shouldn't have Jerry Lawler being like, or whenever he hits dirty deeds on Kevin Owens, I shouldn't have Jerry Lawler being like, oh, I don't think Sami Zayn respects that, King, or Michael Cole. And it's like, dude, he just hits dirty deeds and he just pinned him. Or if Dean pins, it shouldn't be like, I'm somebody and I have an exciting match with somebody and I pin them. And they're like, 1, 2, 3. Well, that's it, King. Look at this. What a win for this guy. Wow. Look at this win. It should be like, oh my God, he just picked up the upset. Oh my God. Like how it actually is. Honestly, they have these commentary clips probably in WWE headquarters. Why not just pick them straight out of TV? Not all of them, but for the exciting moments. Just pick them off from the TV broadcast. Obviously, with all the other noise removed, you can have the commentary separate and just put that in the game. Because, I think you see this a lot in these types of games. People who are actors are always great voice actors. You could especially see it with Enzo, okay, and his performance in the entrance. It's not great. Especially Carmella, too. Not great. But obviously, in a sound studio, it's not as energetic as it is in the actual arena. But I think commentary just needs to be improved, especially when you're hearing it constantly when you're playing the game. It's very, very crucial. And I think it needs improved. I think next year is the time to do it because they have all new commentators. Corey Graves is going to be there. I think he'll do great. I think he gets it. He's young, so I don't know. Hopefully. Mauro Ranallo, if he's in the game, that'll be interesting. We'll see how that goes. I like Mauro, but who knows? I just really think commentary needs revamped, and I don't know of a lot of people who disagree with that. All right. So number 1 and 2, there are 2 things that this game touts. It's its main modes. And number 2, I'm going to have Universe mode. So I read a blog post earlier before the game came out. It said Universe mode's new, it's revamped, everything's all fresh. But I don't see any fresh change. Nothing in this mode has changed except for how it looks and what you do and how you set things up. It looks the exact same as it used to, except now it's harder to find some stuff. And if you want to make someone a champion, it's harder to do. I don't know if this is just me, but I don't see the new stuff that was added. Everything's still there that it was last year, but it's all moved around. It's all in different places. That's all that's changed. Nothing else. I just don't understand why they made it revamped. And another thing, it's even harder if you just want to play one match out of a show. It's harder to do that now because you have to start the show, then you have to simulate all the way up to the match you want to do. That's right, you can't play them out of order this time. And then you play the match. I don't get it. I don't understand. Especially when you can put on, there's obviously all the important matches happen at the pay-per-view. There is no incentive to even pay any attention to the TV shows. Like, obviously, the pay-per-view matches where something happens. But, like, if you want to play week to week, there's no incentive to do that whatsoever. Like, the mode focuses and the rivalries focus on pay-per-views. And it just doesn't make any sense for you to play the TV shows. Obviously, if they wanted to do that, they could. Like, they could easily make it happen. Like, make ratings a thing in the game. Make it, take a couple pages from GM mode in the old games. This mode, sometimes it's too free, They should encourage you to put matches on with people that are popular, that have, high overalls, that are going to put on a good match, You put matches on that get high star ratings, that get you better ratings. With SmackDown versus Raw coming back, you could do that as well, with having them compete in ratings. Maybe. I don't know. Honestly, GM mode, I think it should take a lot of things from GM mode, from SmackDown versus Raw. Because in that, I was inclined to actually outperform the other show. Actually put on good matches. And do well in pay-per-views against them. But in this, all it is just sort of like a playground with no competition. You can't really lose. It's just a fantasy booking simulator. And I know I like that about it, that it's a fantasy booking simulator, but we've had it for so long, I think it's time for a change. And I think some challenge with competing, maybe, making it so that you can lose, so you have something to fight for. So rather than doing fantasy booking, you try your best to book the best show every week. I think that would be great. And not only that, but even when I was playing SmackDown vs. Raw back in the day, I still saw it as a fantasy booking simulator. I would book something and I'd be happy, I'd be like, oh man, I can't wait till, I book Backlash. It's going to be great. And I still felt it back then, except it was, I think, a little more so because of that encouragement to compete every week with the other show and just to perform. Even if you don't want to do SmackDown vs. Raw, you can just have ratings in general. Make sure the ratings are good. And, stuff like that. Other than that, I would just have the menus be easier to navigate. But I just think it really needs a change. And I think it's not that hard to implement. Number 1. All right. I think everyone knows what number 1 is. It's MyCareer. MyCareer is I don't know what it is. It's so long, and I don't know how anyone can play it. 2K18. I played all the way through NXT, and then I worked up to 4 in the Intercontinental title picture, and I just stopped because it's so repetitive. You play the same people every week. Nothing changes. It's the same thing. Nothing is different. Where's all the excitement? I know, not only that, but this mode is caught in between being kayfabe and being reality. It doesn't pick a side. It encourages you to be a good worker and a good workhorse, stuff like that. Put on good matches with people, have good relationships. But not only that, but the game rewards you for winning. You get 1/10 of the VC that you would have earned if you won if you lose. And I don't like that at all because obviously you want to win now. It's not about putting on good matches. It's about winning. Maybe your popularity goes up more, but that's not what people want. People want the VC, make their stats better. But also, you'll have weekly NXT every week. That's fine. But you also have superstars, main event or something. You have to do it every week, and none of it matters. Like, I don't understand why they make you do that. I understand it's like to simulate maybe doing a house show or a dark match or something. But those matches should not be mandatory to do. I think those matches on main event, sometimes they take longer than NXT as well. Those matches should be optional. Like, you'll be able to simulate them and not really get any experience, but you can play them and get VC. You can get popularity by doing them. So sometimes it's good to do them. But like I said, they don't matter. So I think they should be optional. You just simulate them. Get through them. Don't earn anything cool, but it makes the game simpler. Another thing they should change. Whenever you are in a rivalry with somebody, how about whoever wins the final match in the rivalry wins the rivalry? I know, right? Well, this game doesn't work like that. The person with the highest popularity at the end is the one who wins. That doesn't make any sense. Basically, if you go on the main roster and you start a rivalry with John Cena, he will always win. Because of that. Even if you beat the crap out of him, he will win. I don't like that because there are plenty of wrestlers, Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, who've walked in and they've beaten John Cena and maybe not Kevin Owens in the end, but they won the rivalry with him. And it's just like, I don't like how this game forces you to go through the WWE formula to do everything, because all of the greatest out there have done something unique, and this game doesn't let you do anything unique. You can become a Paul Heyman guy, but who cares? No one does that. No one wants to do that. People want to form their own path. They don't want to copy what Brock Lesnar does or, what everyone else does. They want to form their own path. And this game doesn't let you do that. It's just so repetitive. All you do is the same match. All you do is the same matches over and over again. You do the same promos. You see your God, which is great, by the way. But it needs something. It just needs a complete revamp. And it also needs to pick a side between kayfabe and reality, because as it stands right now, it does not know what it is. It says, hey, put on a good match, We'll give you a good spot. If you perform well in this match, you lost the match, but you put on a 5-star match. Here's $2. Oh, guy who won, here's $9,000. That's not fair. That's not how the game should work. So that's it, everybody. That's my sort of little rant on 2K17 and what they should do for 2K18. With all that said, though, I think 2K17 is a good game. I didn't enjoy it as much as I did 16 last year, I will say. I think if you want to get into these games, 16 is the way to go because it's cheaper right now. But unless you really, really love AJ Styles, just stick with 16 for now. It also has showcase mode, which this game does not have. It will in DLC, but I'm not counting that yet. But I do think it's good. It's fleshed out. The gameplay is more solid than 16. But, again, these things need improved. And I think if they do improve these things, then we'll see another really, really, really good WWE game that I will recommend to everybody. So that's it for now, guys. Take care and tune in for the podcast on Wednesday. And together, we can make WWE 2K great again. See you then.